Today, we're diving into one of the most hopeful and frankly game-changing texts in all of Buddhism, the Lotus Sutra. This isn't just a book, it's a collection of stories and teachings with a message so powerful it absolutely transformed spiritual thought across Asia. So, what makes it so special? Well, it all starts with a pretty provocative question. So let's just get right to the heart of it. I want you to think for a second about the most difficult, maybe even the most harmful person you can imagine. Got it? Okay. Now, according to the Lotus Sutra, does that person have the potential to reach the highest state of enlightenment, to become a Buddha? The sutra's answer, well, it's pretty mind-blowing.
The answer the sutra gives to that question was nothing short of revolutionary for its time. It puts forth this radical promise that just completely shattered the existing ideas about who could or couldn't achieve enlightenment. It was a direct challenge to the idea that this was some exclusive club for a chosen few.
And here it is, the core promise. The potential for Buddhahood isn't just for monks who've been meditating for 1,000 lifetimes. Nope. This text says that potential is inside everyone. And I mean everyone, no exceptions. This wasn't just some nice fuzzy thought. It was a radical declaration that your social status, your gender, or even your worst actions couldn't permanently lock you out from the ultimate goal.
And the sutra doesn't just say this, it shows it. It takes the biggest prejudices of the day and turns them right on their head. You have Devadatta, who is basically the ultimate villain in the Buddha stories. I mean, this guy literally tried to kill the Buddha. And the sutra says, yep, he's going to become a Buddha. Then you have the dragon princess, a young girl, in a time and place where women were seen as spiritually inferior. And what does she do? She achieves full enlightenment in a flash, instantly. This was more than just inclusive thinking. It was a whole new vision of what was possible for anyone. So the natural question that pops up is, how? How on earth can a total villain and a young girl, and by extension all of us with all our flaws and baggage, how can we all reach the exact same ultimate destination? Well, the sutra has this beautiful concept to explain just that.
The answer is this brilliant idea called upaya, which we can translate as skillful means. You know, think of it like this. A great doctor doesn't just hand out the same pill to every single patient, right? Of course not. They figure out what's wrong with that specific person and give them the exact medicine they need. The sutra says the Buddha does the same thing, using different stories, teachings, and parables that are perfectly tailored to whoever is listening, all to help them get it.
And all these different skillful means, they all serve one single ultimate purpose. It's like climbing a mountain. You might have a dozen different trails. Some are steep, some are winding, some start on opposite sides. But every single one of them leads to the same summit. That summit is the Ikayana, or the one vehicle. The sutra is basically saying that all the different schools of thought aren't competing against each other. They're just different on-ramps to the same spiritual superhighway, a highway that carries everyone to the same place, Buddhahood.
Now, to really hammer this idea home, this connection between skillful means and the one vehicle, the sutra tells its most famous story. It's an incredible teaching tool, a parable known as the burning house.
Okay, so picture this. There's a rich father with a whole bunch of kids. He comes home one day and finds an absolute nightmare scenario. His giant, sprawling house, and it's an old place, falling apart with rotting beams and crumbling walls, is completely engulfed in flames. And to make matters worse, there's only one single narrow gate to get out.
But inside, his children are just playing. They're so lost in their games, they have no idea what's happening. The house is literally crawling with poisonous creatures and filled with smoke, but they don't notice the fire licking at the walls. The father is screaming, "Get out, the house is on fire," but they're so into their toys they completely ignore him.
The father is desperate. He realizes just yelling at them isn't going to work, so he has to get clever. He uses a brilliant, skillful means. You could call it a compassionate lie. He knows exactly what they love, cool toys. So he shouts something else. "Hey kids, forget those old toys. I've got amazing new carriages for you outside the gate. Goat carriages, deer carriages, ox carriages, whatever you want. Just come outside now." And boom, it works like a charm. The moment they hear about these incredible new toys, they drop everything and make a mad dash for the door. They all race each other out of that single gate, scrambling to safety. The father's plan worked. He saved them. So, what does it all mean? Well, this whole story is one big analogy. The loving father, that's the Buddha. And the children, totally absorbed in their games inside a burning house, that's all of us, lost in the suffering of the world.
The 3 different toy carriages he promises are the various skillful means, the different teachings tailored to get our attention and lure us to safety. But here is the most important part, the big twist. Once they're all safe outside, the father doesn't give them 3 different smaller toys. No, because he loves them all equally and immensely, he gives every single one of them something far, far better. One single, magnificent carriage covered in jewels, pulled by a great white ox. That is the one vehicle, the ultimate, supreme teaching that's actually for everyone, no matter what little toy they thought they were chasing out the door.
Okay, so that's a great story from long ago. But what does it mean for us today? How do we actually use this? Well, the final part of the sutra's teaching brings this huge idea right down to earth, into our everyday lives.
The sutra makes this really crucial point. It says that the deepest, most profound spiritual practice isn't about mastering ancient texts or performing complex rituals. It really all comes down to how you treat other people. And to make this crystal clear, it tells one more short story about a person known as the never disrespectful bodhisattva.
So this person's entire practice was incredibly simple. He would just walk up to every single person he met, monks, merchants, anybody, bow to them, and say this line. Now, people thought he was absolutely nuts. They mocked him, they yelled at him, some even threw rocks at him. But he never stopped. He just kept bowing. Why? Because he wasn't reacting to who they were in that moment. He was honoring the enlightened Buddha he knew they had the potential to become.
And that right there is the ultimate practice. The Lotus Sutra isn't just a book to be studied. It's a new pair of glasses to see the world through. It's asking us to actively look past people's flaws, past their annoying habits, past the difficult things they do, and see that little spark of potential, that Buddha nature that's inside of them. And just as important, it's asking us to see it in ourselves too. So, we end up right back where we started. The Lotus Sutra isn't just giving us a philosophy, it's giving us a challenge. It's proposing an experiment for our own lives. So I'll leave you with this to think about. If you truly, genuinely believed that every single person you meet today, your family, your coworkers, that stranger on the street, was a future Buddha in the making, how might that change the way you see the world? What would be different?